His fire-eating skills have mesmerized tourists and locals alike. His skills in the boxing ring have been equally outstanding, bringing him acclaim at home and abroad. And his work in the community, especially in motivating at-risk young people, is well known. Everyone knows him as Cassius Clay, but how many know his real name?
My name is Winston Yearwood, Winston Carla Yearwood, and with a G. That G is for good looking.
It's this dry wit that has helped Cassius overcome the many obstacles he has faced. An unhappy home life turned him into a self-confessed wild boy who dropped out of school before he even learned to read or write.
If they send me to school, I normally wouldn't go. I had an exercise book, I remember. I would hide that on Murphy Pasta, and I would run around town and things like that, around the wharf, and then when the children were going home from school, I would go back for my exercise book and try to write a few sums in it and pass them myself and put some wrong. Could I do a little arithmetic a little bit at a time. And that was all used to be in my book, so I guess that's the start to find out where all you do is sums or arithmetic. And then the wharf then became my home.
This decision had consequences. For one, he had to learn to survive on the streets from an early age, foraging for food.
I remember that the children used to go in the park for food, and I would wait by the park gate till the children going in and try to ease in the line and going to see if I can get some food too. But then my clothes was all different to the schoolboys' own, so the lady in there would have to say, well, okay, let me give him some food, but she knew I didn't come from school. It was really, really rough for me, because some days you had nothing to eat and that kind of thing. You just got to be hustling here, hustling there, carrying boxes to the bake shop, trying to get some stale bread and stuff like that.
Finding a place to lay his head each night was another challenge.
I had a group of guys that we used to be together. Some of them used to go home at the end of the night, and some of them used to have to sleep out like myself. And we would look around for some card and things like that the stores are throwing away, a card box or two, and we would hide it, especially if the rain is falling, we would hide it so it wouldn't get bad. And then at night we would all get our cards and then look for somewhere to sleep. And then the swing bridge was a popular area for us. We used to sleep on the swing bridge, or we would sleep in the marketplace down Sheepside there, or sometimes we would go up in the park, and we used to live like that.
Spending his days in and around the wharf taught him some valuable skills such as swimming.
You're a wharf boy, you got to get treated like a wharf boy, so you got to get christened. And then the big boys hold you and throw you in the wharf, and you got to get out however you can. I believe that if you were in trouble, they would come for you, but they give you a chance to get up by yourself and you start the dog paddle and stuff like that. That's how I learned to swim.
It's also where his interest in boxing was kindled.
They used to put down a piece of money on the ground, and it's called Kickbacks and Bikes. So if you try to take up that, whatever you get, you have to take it. You know, they can kick you, they can bite you, they can cuff you down, whatever. And, you know, you're trying to get at it. And I used to remember walking right in the ring and taking it up and putting it in my pocket, man. And I mean, there was all sorts of kicks and cuffs there, but I had no time with scrambling, trying to thing. I used to go and take it up, you know. So then the bigger guy started saying, man, he really rough and hard, man. He really tough, you know. Then they put me to wrestle with other fellas and things like that. For another piece of change again, we would wrestle and put on one head on the tar road and that kind of thing, and get a lot of bruises. And then one day a guy said, hey, you a rough man and tough man, why you don't come and learn the box? And I said, no problem, and he took me down at a place called the Savoy Club, I think it was, right there in Mason Hall Street. He took me down there and put on some gloves on me. The gloves was really big and heavy, and you could only pelt one calf at a time. And when you pelt a calf, the gloves used to swing you around. There was about 2 pounds each, and they would enjoy themselves seeing 2 little boys coughing it out with each other. We get a little shilling on whatever after that. But whilst that was happening, I was creating an interest in boxing.
Eventually, Cassius's mother had enough of his wayward ways and reported him to the courts as uncontrollable. As a result, he was sent to the government industrial school for 3 years.
I don't think she should have done that, but then again, having went to Dodds, I turned my life around there. I was one of the best boys up there. I find that I had a lot of talent. Could have sing a little bit and could have draw really good and stuff like that. And I started doing that there. And then when I come out, I become a seaman. I was working on the small schooners, Philip Davison and Lady Emmeline, and a boat called Lady Agnes. I work on and travel throughout the West Indies and so on that boat.
But Cassius soon grew tired of life at sea. He again turned his attention to boxing, entering the ring first as Ovaltine Kid and later as young Cassius Clay. The nickname was given to him by a local boxing official who saw similarities in his personality and that of the United States champion fighter of the same name.
I used to brag and boast a lot. I had like that, like telling guys when I can beat them or how I can beat them and so on. Sometimes they used to turn on me, but I still had this big mouth. And he said that he's going to call me young Cassius Clay because of this big mouth fella over there and this big mouth fella here. And then Cassius Clay, then he changed his name to Muhammad Ali. And I kept the name Cassius Clay here. And that followed me right through till this day, and Cassius. So that's how I got that name, Cassius Clay. And I think I almost met Muhammad Ali at one time because I was going to fight in the States. And where I was going to fight, Muhammad Ali had fought there the week before. And I was going in to fight the next week. And I saw him going out, and the guy that was driving me says, "Look, your name's right there, Cassius, Muhammad Ali." And he just went right across the road, get into a car, and went along. And then he had heard something about me and left the boxing trunk, one of his boxing trunks, for me at the stadium, at the complex. And I take a picture in that boxing trunk. At the time, I think that boxing trunk it was really too big for me. I can remember it had me swallowed, and it was a big joke for people. But that's the closest I went to him.
Cassius became a champion fighter locally. Then came an opportunity to emigrate to Canada, sponsored by a Canadian visitor to the island who had witnessed a bout which ironically he lost against Curtis Miller.
He says, "Listen, when I go back to Canada, I'm going to send a ticket for you because you're going to be a champion." And I said to myself, well, if I just lose, and he's coming out to tell me that he's going to send a ticket for me, I was so vexed. I said, "Man, yeah, man, right. You're going to send a ticket. Same ticket, man." And I figured that he was just trying to pull my legs. And then a couple months after the ticket came for me, I couldn't even read it. A ticket came for me, and I just rested there on the shelf. And then my sister came by me about 3 weeks later, and I told her I got this telegram here. Go and read it for me. And she went and checked it. And she says, "Cassius, come. You got to go to Canada. You got to go to Canada, come, man. Somebody sent for you here, look." And I had to go and collect some money from, I think it was Air Canada and stuff like that. And when I went to Canada, it was a big hullabaloo. He used to play for Ottawa Rough Riders, and he had the whole team there to meet me at the airport, and that was a big change in my life.
It's in Canada that he learned the art of truly intimidating an opponent before a fight.
I remember I was to fight this guy, and then I'm sitting up on the scale, and he's right next to me, going to get on the scale. And he said, "Listen, man, you let these people down here fool you, man. You let them bring you to fight me. They could let you fight somebody else first and then fight me, because you're not going to get too far fighting me." So I didn't want to say anything because I remember my little wharf boy days here. I write the curse and thing, But I said, "Lord have mercy, I can't say anything to this man because I can't disappoint my country and stuff like that." So I'm listening, but I'm vexed with what he's telling me. And then he said, listen, if you want me to go easy on you, so you can shine a little light, you can ask me now to let you last for a couple of rounds and stuff like that. He says, because I'm going to spray you down like a mosquito. And I was really cruel. And when I come off the scale, I told my trainer, man, I ain't kill this man. I said, man tell me all sorts of foolishness just now. And when I went in the ring and started the fight, I find that I was winning easy. That he was no match for me at all. So at the end of the fight, we were in the bath room together, this line of baths, and he was down one side and I was like, yes, and he came up to me and he said, Limos had you, man. I said, Limos had me, man, you never went wrong. He said, no, but when I was talking to you, you was getting vexed. And I wanted you to get vexed, because if you get vexed, I'd beat you easy. And I learned it from there then, that this is what the boxers would do to each other, intimidate you and stuff like that. And he became my good friend. And I started doing the same thing too, trying to get guys scared of me and so on. But I was ugly, man, so when guys see me, they was frightened already anyhow.
Despite his success in the ring in Canada, when he had to make a decision about whether to stay in North America or return home, for Cassius, it was a no-brainer.
I had 17 fights there and I lost 2 and draw 4, and I won the rest. And then they was asking me if I need to stay in Canada, if I would like my citizenship there. And I said no. I said I learned to skate here. I played a little ice hockey, and then I was playing a Canadian football for a team called Hull Rams, and I learned that. And I said no, I want to go back to Barbados and teach the youngsters some tackle football. And we didn't have any ice here, so I said I would start the roller hockey here. So that was a big change for me to come back here and start doing all those things. So I didn't take the citizenship there at all. I came back to Barbados because I always say that I want Barbados to be the heaven of the earth. I always used to say that from the time I was a little boy. I always said I want Barbados to be the best place in the world. A place without any crime, a place where that people are real gentle, real good Samaritans, and stuff like that. So that's what I based my life on.
Cassius readily admits that boxing saved his life. That's why even today it's one of the tools he uses to steer young people away from the streets.
I remember begging hard to go into schools and teach boxing, and I wasn't lucky at all. Other people get that opportunity, I didn't get it, and I'm doing it free. And many youngsters that come to me, I set up my bag and I put on my gloves. I have gloves, everything, and I show them. But I wanted to go into schools and talk to children about boxing, because boxing is not only a game, it's very disciplined, see? And you have to learn to ignore arguments on the road. You got to learn not to get into fights with people. Then if you respect your hands and you learn to box and you respect your hands, they become weapons. So you don't want to go around hitting people, especially girls, women and stuff like that. So I thought that if I had get into the schools and talk about boxing and introduce it before you start the box, you have to pass through a little test within my head that you are the kind of person that would be a boxer and represent your country and your country only, and not represent a whole heap of nonsense. Young people would do a lot better if they start getting to learn these things from small, you know, how to manage your life from small. It might sound stupid, but children do listen to you.
In our next program, we will hear from Cassius, the multi-talented entertainer, and learn a lot more about his community service.